From the very beginning, we envisioned this event to be a beacon of growth and transformation, the Black Manosphere Conclave. Across 3 days, Black men will converge to retool themselves for the 21st century. We'll forge powerful business alliances, refine styles, amplify tech skills, and exchange life lessons unique to the Black male experience. Motivate, evolve, enlighten, and thrive. This, gentlemen, is the Black Manosphere Conclave. Welcome to the elite.
Men get tired. We get tired. God, we get tired. And don't nobody give a damn. The folks you think will give a damn don't give a damn. Sometimes your kids don't even give a damn. And in the face of such hurt, heartbreak, rejection, confusion, a lot of men are just out here lost. And waking up every day is a miracle. Some people go to sleep and will be all right, but not waking up.
The whole idea of children being born out of that institution of marriage is very damaging. And I think a lot of times we don't see it until that person grows up and experiences some of those things where when you go to pull on those things that you need from that union, it's not there.
I had a lot of great role models that happened to be men to teach me what, my angel of a mother was not going to be able to do.
I'm coaching people that's in their 60s and they're learning. And they say, well, how did you get this wisdom at such a young age? And I honestly believe it was my father.
She just did what she had to do. She was a single mother before it became even popular, so.
How do you feel about it being popular?
I think it's a sad state of affairs.
If you say, what is the ideal? I think the ideal is being raised by a two-parent family.
I talk about black men, white men, period, but mostly black men. How we've become second and third class citizens, especially when it comes to the lives of our children.
I think I learned a lot of things from my father.
So I think that passed on to me. I grew up without a father.
I didn't just spend a whole lot of time at Dwayne's house. His daddy was molding me.
I know commercials that last longer than how my father.
Children from fatherless homes in this country, 5 times more likely to commit suicide than children who have a father in the home. 32 times more likely to run away. 20 times more likely to have a behavioral disorder. 14 times more likely to become sexually aggressive or commit rape. 10 times more likely to engage in drug abuse. It just breaks my heart. No heat, no judgment.
A woman will open up and say,
you know what, not having my father really is a problem, really is an issue. And I wish we could get more black women to just point out, wait a minute, it's not cool that your kids don't have that father. It's not cool that you didn't grow up with yours. It's not, I don't need no man. It's not, fathers don't matter. It's not, niggas ain't shit. It's actually, we as a people, we as a culture, we as a community have to deal with each other. And in dealing with each other, if we're creating children, if we're having little innocent beings who only thing they know about themselves is what we present about ourselves. I don't know if that makes any sense to any of you guys. If you are a Jew and you know that you must be a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that, that matters. Your goal is higher. What you want to be in life is exalted. But if you think about what happens with us as black men, our goal in life is where? What do we have to look up to? Who do we have to look up to? Was our fathers impressive? Was our grandfathers impressive? It doesn't even matter what you say sometimes to your children. It's what you do. It's what you have. It's the presence you command. It's the maturity of how you deal with each other and deal with other people. And that's the biggest thing we need in the black community. Where does that start? To me, it's with fathers. If your man is confident, your man is proud. When your man is proud, he loves what he has. He protects what he has when he has these situations. And that's when you, as a woman, as a man, as a family, as a community, that's when we'll be better. When we actually care about each other. It starts with the fathers. It starts with the relationship and the children.
It's a hard thing to admit, but it's understandable why they would choose to go their own way. And that's what's scary, is there's actually a rational reason why they would do that.
Men going their own way. And you can think what you want about it, but this is a really big problem for women, for us, for our future, for families, for you to find a partner. If a population of good men are walking away because they're fed up with women.
If you're being told all your life that you are bad and wrong just for being a man, and that you have toxic masculinity for being a man, and that, you know, women, there's this famous expression that, you know, a woman needs a man just like a fish needs a bicycle. And that men are basically useless, and that men are terrible, and that, you know, women are superior.
Our society is very callous towards men. The only message most men hear in the world is that they're a bumbling buffoon. The TV shows are full of idiot men. Commercials show men as buffoons. The society is against them. All they hear about is what idiots men are.
It's the mass of women that are taking over the culture and representing women. They're loud, they're mean, they say they want equality. Why are they not protesting in the streets for the changing the laws for alimony or child support or child custody? Because they don't want equality, they want superiority.
The male gender has more of a slave state, and it's because men are now subjugated to the law and to women, and nobody really believes it except the men who go through, say, the court. But most men think that they're exempt from that until they end up in a bad situation.
So for a lot of the men, and a lot of them have gotten screwed over in terrible relationships and divorces and gotten their kids taken away from them. So it's an understandable response.
In the United States of America, as a man, you can't speak up. I think most women tend to be very I'm stereotyping, but they tend to be more collectivist. They tend to sort of be more in that socialist mindset. So I don't know that you're going to see a huge change. I think the change will have to come from men.
The lives of women will not change until the men get the opportunity to also examine and define and change their lives. In many ways, I sometimes think that the 20th century was the century where the women made all these massive changes, and the 21st century will be the changes that the men will make, partly in adapting to the changes that the women have done.
And those men are doing something about it. They're saying, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not getting married, or I'm divorced. They don't sit around just trying to live their life through women. They actually have lots of hobbies. They go out, they buy that land you were talking about. They're out there getting motorcycles. They're having a good time, and they're enjoying life without having to deal with the stress of the women and the society that tells them they have to have a woman in their life.
How would you feel? I mean, you know, you're not going to feel that attracted to a woman or care to be loving towards her or romantic towards her. So this men going their own way is a reaction to that. I really think it's a rational reaction to that. Men are finally like, hey, we've given you all you want. You know, you are equal in every way, and then you're still shaming us.
When my friends go, it was simple. When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike. I go hard day and night, yeah. I go hard day and night. 1 to 1, no surprise. See the hate in their eyes. My brother's blood money bleed. I got the game in the squeeze. What would you do for some green? What would you do for some blues? Go pick and choose the family the cheese. Some people not built like that. Some people get killed like that. Pressure like water, lights, mortgage, I'm paying that bills like that. Now I got kids like that. No wonder why I feel like that. Some people go to war for none. Me, I go to war for some.
Before there was the manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was.
When the ends low, switch the tempo. I got right, I got heart, I won't die, I'ma fight. I go down, bet I strike. I go hard day and night. Money on the line, keep calling. Money on the books, need all that. My kids, they'll be ballin'. Got a real bankroll, not for Instagram. My mama on the line, keep calling. Praying for me, know I need all that. Told me it's not about ballin'. Real blessed, but I'm still sinning, man. What would you do for a win? What would you do for your friends? What if this life is a foe? What if the dogs pretend? What if you roll to the end? What if you started again?
PARIAH, the Kosher Clinician.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
All right, guys, bring it to you live from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State. Grateful to have you guys, the 22 that are watching on to this evening. And we're going to talk about Tommy Sotomayor. Tommy is a brilliant man in so many rights, but to some, Tommy is an enigma. The question remains, is Tommy really controversial, or is it that the truth is controversial? Listen, you can say what you want to say about Tommy, but Tommy adds a lot of clarity and insight to a lot of the things that he talks about. But in the meantime, guys, if you need help well, being emasculated. Go check out my book by Edward Fields IV, as he talks about being emasculated. And we're going to talk about the truth in a minute. Hold tight.
Have you been distressed or perplexed? Emasculated. A book written by Edward Fields IV. Everything that needs to be known about men in modern time. Listen, men are not complex. They are misunderstood and unappreciated. Learn what men really feel, think, and desire. Also observe their struggle for acceptance, love, and belonging. A must read for every man in this classic book by Edward Fields IV, Emasculated. Go get your copy now.
All right, guys. So once again, truth is controversial. So is truth controversial? Is Tommy controversial? Or is it because people can't handle what Tommy is saying? We're going to explore the mind of Tommy Sotomayor. I had the opportunity to have Tommy on my show, guys, a while ago. And we're going to explore the mind of Tommy. Tommy is a legend in YouTube. I've had several channels demonetized. A man of many talents, but a man that's very enigmatic at the same time. And one could argue that Tommy has or is going through unresolved trauma. But then there are some that, like Jason Whitlock, that thinks that some of Tommy's issues are self-inflicted. We're going to explore the evidence on tonight about the king of controversy, Tommy Sotomayor. As we continue to explore Tommy, what did you know about Tommy? What did you learn about Tommy? And how have Tommy been an added blessing to you? Because once again, one cannot deny that Tommy is not only a brilliant man, but very talented. But then one could argue that sometimes Tommy gets in his own way. We're going to show you guys the excerpts. We're going to show you guys the evidence, as Tommy is one of the pillars in YouTube. And the things that Tommy has taught you and the things you've learned from Tommy, once again, being the king of controversy. So, guys, get your pens and paper ready because we're going to have a good show on tonight. We're going to have a great show. And thank you to all the people that tuned in on yesterday. You guys came up strong. And I look forward to having this conversation about Tommy Sotomayor, who many will call Mr. Controversy. And so, guys, share this stream. Share the stream. Share the stream. We're going to have a good show. Looking forward to the Black Manosphere Conclave that's coming up soon. If you guys don't have your tickets, go get your tickets. Go get your tickets for the Black Manosphere Conclave, where we'll be talking about male-centered issues. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown Peachtree, where we'll be talking to men about male empowerment, how to make money, how to dress, how to stand firm in your masculinity in these modern times, and how not to allow yourself to be a slave to modern women. Tommy have come up with some very cliche concepts that many have piggybacked off Tommy. And he's a funny guy, but at the meantime, while being funny, some would say he's controversial. And as I said earlier, Tommy has lost several channels. He lost several channels. He had a recent channel on YouTube here recently, but he lost that channel because there were haters. But one cannot deny the brilliance of Tommy. Tommy can go anywhere, and he can make it rain. So shout out to Tommy Sotomayor. But we're going to explore Jason Whitlock, and we're going to ask ourselves the question, is the truth controversial? Is Tommy controversial? Or is it a combination of both? So, guys, we're about to go down the rabbit hole. And if you're ready to go down the rabbit hole, hit 1. If you have not shared the stream, hit 2. Once you share the stream, hit 3. And if you want to donate to the channel, donate to the channel. So, guys, we're going down the rabbit hole. And give me 1 minute. But in the meantime, get the likes up because the robot said the bill's got to be paid. So get the likes up. And we're about to go down the rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go. This is the part of the show where we assess, examine, collaborate. All right, guys, we're going to explore who Tommy is. We're going to explore and review the conversation him and I had a while ago. And hopefully at some point I can bring Tommy back, as Tommy has been an icon and a pillar in these spaces. So let's look at the conversation he had with Jason Whitlock and fair use. And so once again, Tommy, guys, had a lot of consternation over the fact because he felt that others had taken some of his talking points and didn't give him credit. Some felt it was justified. Some felt that it wasn't justified. But one thing you can say, whether it was justified or unjustified, Tommy is very precise in his logic and his dissemination of information. So we're going to explore this, and then we're going to review the show that I had with Tommy. And guys, get the likes up and donate to the channel if you have not donated as we get deep into the conversation.
And if you can have and whoever told you, if they saw it worked, you know what else they might do? Like when I did my movie, Tariq Nasheed wanted to be a part of my movie. When he decided he didn't like my movie, you need to make sure you go watch my movie. It's called The Fatherless America. I guarantee you'll like it. You can find it at...
And guys, go check out Tommy's movie, A Fatherless America. At least he put his money where his mouth is. I will be reviewing it soon too. I've been meaning to review it, but I just haven't had time being so busy, but I will be looking at the movie. I know I talked with Tommy a while ago about it, but I am going to review it if he's listening. But once again, is Tommy controversial because he tells the truth? Is Tommy controversial because he's enigmatic and a product of his own confusion, or is it a combination of both? You decide.
afatherlessamerica.com, or you can rent it at Amazon. Amazon got it rated a 4.9 out of 5. Great movie. Tariq Nasheed was all about it. Then he decided to dislike me. When he disliked me, he went over to Dr. Umar Johnson and said, don't do a show. Because Dr. Umar was supposed to already do my show. So I'm getting ready to sit up for Dr. Umar Johnson. He's like, I can't do it. And he wouldn't tell me why. Now you could say Tariq didn't hurt me. That man made a decision on his own. But if you got a person going
Tariq hurt you. Tariq hurt you. That's a different analogy. I made a decision about what's best for my show.
Just like Umar did. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The Umar part. Umar made a decision from hearing what Tariq said that he'll choose not to do my movie. You made a decision based upon what people told you.
One of the things I've never understood about people that say they are pro-black use the same language of those that some would call oppressive. I never understood how pro-blacks can call another man crispy. That doesn't make any sense to me if you're truly pro-black, because you can disagree with Tommy, that's fine. But how can you talk pro-black and the brilliance of being pro-black, but yet at the same time use the language of the oppressor or the language that was consistent of denigrating our people in the past? It doesn't make any sense to me, guys. If it makes sense to you, please educate me, but it doesn't make any sense to me and never have made any sense. And one will argue that some of the pro-blacks are lying. But you guys tell me what y'all think.
to not have me in front
And
of
what
an
I went
audience.
and found for myself, it was backed up.
Yes, from what they told you.
Yes, but also, again, your willingness to beef with everybody is just like, well, I need.
Who is this everybody?
What I need
I'm
another
beefing with? Y'all
person
never
that
called them
as soon as the
principally
deal's over. Tommy, damn near as soon as the deal was over, you were on your show already talking about me.
Oh, look at what you said. You were sitting there like right now. You don't see it. I guarantee you people see it. You throw shots and then we'll start out by saying, I don't mean to throw a shot. You do. You can watch this interview
Tommy,
right
if
now,
you
watch
listen
it
to
back.
me, okay, listen, but if you listen.
Do you feel like sometimes Tommy getting his own way of progress? But Tommy became upset because he felt that Jason Whitlock didn't give him proper notoriety because I guess he heralded Kevin Samuels as the king of the manosphere. And so you guys tell me what y'all think in the comments. But you cannot deny the brilliance of Tommy Sotomayor, whether you like him, hate him, or is indifferent.
Listen to me. Do you know how many shots I take at myself every day? Again, now I play rough. There's no question about it. This ain't for punks. I play rough. I'm not a punk. Nobody that comes on the show can be a punk. Because again, if I don't play rough with you, it's probably a sign that I don't respect you.
So you justify playing rough, but then when the person responds to the roughness, you say, well, how is that? Like, seriously, if a person, I was always told this by my grandmom and granddad. If you slap somebody, you can't dictate how they'll respond. They might
I've never slapped you, Tommy. I've never slapped you.
You know that people's sensibilities are different, and you do know this. And that was another thing Jesus talked about. People's sensibilities are different. What you are offended by, somebody else might not be. And what you think shouldn't be offensive, they may think it is. We know this. That's why we take our shoes off in somebody else's house, but not in our own. But in our own, we just walk around with them on, or vice versa. We may think things are different. And so all I'm saying is, I didn't, as you say anything I said in response, I didn't say anything out of line. I didn't talk about how you look. I didn't talk about your mama, your daddy. I literally didn't say anything. You can't, if you believe what you did was soft, you have to say anything I said back was just as.
So once again, guys, the controversy over was, you guys know that Tommy has been one of the pillars in content, comedy, or whatever you want to call it. But once again, Tommy was offended by the fact because Jason Whitlock, if you guys are new or just coming in, he was offended because Tommy felt like that Jason didn't give him the proper credit. And Tommy have always felt that many stole his talking points and never gave him the proper resolve or the proper regard. And so y'all tell me what y'all think. But once again, is Tommy controversial or is the truth controversial? If the truth is controversial, then where do we go from here?
And I was confused at you were saying something, and I tried to explain to you what I was doing. And everything I said came to fruition about Kwame Brown. It did. And I'm sad. I think I still am, because I think a lot of what I said about him, I said it still from a point of love, because I kept saying, bro, here's what's going to happen if you keep doing it this way. I was able to say something to him that no one was able to say to me. And I kept telling him, and it happened. And I'm not happy it happened, and I don't mess with him no more. I don't talk to him. I don't pile on. I don't say I'm glad. I don't do any of that stuff. Why? Because I know what it feels like to fail, to feel like I had it and lost it. And I don't take joy or revel in anybody's downfall or demise. They tried to get me to make videos about.
And guys, there's been a lot of consternation in these spaces. Sometimes one of the greatest detriment of men is when we allow our egos to get in the way. The ego can be good, or the ego can be used for bad if we don't keep it in check. And sometimes, guys, we allow our ego to get in place, and it impacts our ability to have a good conversation, especially as men. We want to determine who's the greatest and the best instead of understanding their commonalities in us all as men. And so once again, some would say this Tommy has self-sabotaged himself, but then some would say that folks never gave credit to Tommy and his brilliance. You make your own determination.
Kevin Samuels, when he died, I didn't touch it. Why? Because death is going to hit us all. How is that a joke? I never understood it. Matter of fact, I defended him. Then they said, why are you defending Kevin? Y'all got beef. I said, no, I don't have beef. I kept trying to point out something. There's no beef in that. I said, but there's a problem when you got a woman, what was her name? I went on her TV show when she had it. 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend. What is her name? She was in Independence Day.
Vivica Fox.
Vivica Fox. When Vivica Fox went on to that Fox Soul and they said God took him out for what he said, you know we could never say nothing like that about a woman, no matter what she did.
And Tommy have always been controversial. Tommy had been on Vivica Fox, but he's correct. Tommy has been demonetized for a myriad of reasons. Some would say self-inflicted, some would say hate. But imagine if a man said what Vivica Fox said that Tommy said almost about Kevin Samuels. So one will argue that the truth is a new controversy, and the truth is cognitive dissonance, to say the least. The truth is a new controversy, or the truth is cognitive dissonance, to say the least.
He was able to say this about a man she didn't know because he said an opinion he didn't like. And that's what's crazy. Almost everything that happened to me was because I said an opinion that you didn't like. So you want to say something else and something else and something else. And the point.
Shout out to my brother, Salty Balls. Salty Balls is a brilliant brother. Got nothing but love for that brother. Always supporting black male content. Got nothing but love for my brother. But Salty Balls is the #1 sponsor of the stream. But before we get into it, Salty Balls said, for no accountant can count the countless unaccountable, accountable for thy carte blanche in thy bank of fuggery runneth empty. For it have long bounced faster than thy countless she-heathens and the studded high horse she rideth on. And yes, a woman ride the beast, and you know what I know, Salty Balls. That's pigeon-ish.
Flies eat poop. Get over it, okay? That's for you.
Yeah. Shut up, Kosher. Yeah. Shut up. Whoa. Shut up, Kosher.
Ballin'.
Take it back.
Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. Yeah, I'm ballin'. Like it's game time. Locked in when it's game time. I put in work, couldn't wait for mine.
Shut up, Kosher. Shut up. Shut up, Kosher. Take it back. Shut up. Shut up, Kosher. Shut up.
And yes, some will argue that a lot of times Tommy's talking points were used by Kevin. Tommy became incensed that he didn't always get the credit. So, you know, I'm the kind of person, guys, that if I use a person's talking point, I'm going to always give people credit because I don't believe in stealing people's talking points. Now, Kevin was brilliant in his own right because he worked this behind off. But Tommy's point of contention and some content creators, their points of contention was that sometimes he didn't always give credit. Sometimes he did get credit, but sometimes he didn't give credit. So you make your own decision, but that's why Tommy was incensed. But then there are some that say that Tommy is an egomaniac. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to talk about if Tommy telling the truth is controversial or if his antics are controversial.
One is that people like me, they wouldn't care about that. Their pastors will get up in front of them and tell them, I used to pimp. And they still go there and throw money at him. Yet you want to come and say, he did so and such. But he sounded good, but I don't want to hear anything else he says anymore. But that's crazy. That's who you should want to hear from. That's why you go to the doctor for people sick. You call the doctor because you're sick. If the doctor only hung out with people who were well, he'd be a horrible doctor.
So I'm going to end it here, Tommy, or try to reach a conclusion here. And I hope that I express this accurately and in a way that people understand it. There were people when we started this show that, why you got Shamika Michelle on the show, Jason? She's on the cover of her book naked, and she used to be a stripper, and blah, blah, blah. And I like Shamika Michelle, and I have her on the show because I authentically believe she's going to represent herself and me in this show in a way that for the most part reflects the values of this show. And she's moved on from things in her past and she's, I won't say a different person, but that's the only thing I can think of to say at the moment. But again, I don't have a problem because I have a past. If I thought O.J. Simpson were a different person, was going to represent the show in a way consistent mostly with the values of this show, I'd have O.J. Simpson as a contributor to this show. And I know he committed double murder, or I believe he did. And anybody that knows me, and Uncle Jimmy, who was my sidekick for a lot of years, this dude got 5 kids and 4 baby mamas. And platformed him, elevated him, whatever, and so I don't hold people's past against them. And I wasn't, but when I look at the whole package of like, and I don't want to belabor it anymore, but I just like, man, this dude's beat.
So the whole point was, as I told you guys, being a licensed therapist, the manosphere is what I call cyber therapy. It's called cyber therapy. It's called cyber therapy. It's a place where men come together. And Jason Whitlock's talking point was, manosphere provides refuge for men in the battle to preserve God's natural order. And we know that many American women or women in the West don't want order. They don't respect their men. And that's why this space was manifest. Now listen, I've always been an advocate for men and family and good righteous sisters that are ready to follow good righteous men. But once again, the problem is that people can't handle the truth. And even if some of Tommy's battles were self-inflicted, you can't deny the fact there are times where Tommy, or many times what Tommy is saying is the truth. He makes a lot of sense. Now, does he always disseminate correctly and know how to, create lasting relationships? One will make an argument for that. But Tommy does make a lot of sense, very intelligent and very logical.
Beefing with Kwame, and he's saying Kevin Samuel stole his whole thing from him, and and he's got this OnlyFans deal, the whole thing, all of it just like, man, Whitlock, that's too high risk. Just don't. What's happened, just as life has played out, you've come on the Twitter spaces twice, and both times I'm like, dang, this dude is just cold, man. He says some amazing stuff. He's a brilliant broadcaster. And now we're talking about the manosphere, and he's an originator in the manosphere. Let me bring Tommy on and hear Tommy out. Let me introduce him to the audience. Let me hear how the audience responds to Tommy. And let me try to figure out, where's Tommy's head at now? What's he representing now? Does he have any discipline? Because trust me, if things go sideways, it won't be because of anything I did. And that's not me saying I'm a perfect person. It's just like, I just go out of my way not to mistreat people or deal with them in a transparent fashion. Is he going to run off the rails and Whitlock is the worst person on the planet? I don't know, but, you know, we'll figure it out. But anyway, Tommy, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm going to give you the final say on this whole thing, and then we'll play some tomorrow, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
You know, Tommy came up with words like hair hats, BT 1000s, so big they can hit the A gap. And I think Tommy has, part of it is Tommy just personality, but I think Tommy has some unresolved trauma. I don't think Tommy hate black women, but I do think Tommy hate the fact that many of the women that hurt him were never held accountable. Not to say that Tommy don't have his own issues, like we as men have our issues, but I think he never got the proper healing and never got the proper respect from the women that disrespected him.
So Tommy, the floor is yours. Wrap up. Don't go too long. You can go 10 minutes sometimes. It's all good, but you know, try to stay in the 2 to 3 to 4 minute range.
Well, that's fine. You say the whole idea of how, you know, I give everybody a chance and everybody has a pass. The one thing you can't say is anywhere you've ever seen me, no matter if it was on Dave Rubin, no matter if it was on Vivica Fox, no matter if it was on almost everywhere I've been, but Conversations great. You don't hear me in there cussing or messing up, and I espouse things that are really, really good. So you put me in a situation and you tell me what the rules are, I pretty much follow them. I had you on my show and I was nothing but respect. It wasn't even like how my normal show is, because I don't go in and get to cussing and bring people on. That's why so many people have come on my show. It used to be called a place where celebrities go to let go. They would come to talk to me and I don't even know why. TD Jakes used to tell people to go listen to me. He literally thought I was really good. So that being said, all of your dealings with me were good. Everything you found bad was about someone else. All of your dealings with me personally, every other thing that you've seen me on someone else's show was good. I handled myself very professionally, including here. Now I'll get off this show and probably go on mine and let a couple F-bombs drop and whatever, because like my grandmother always told me was this. There was a person in the Bible and they said when he went there, they said he doesn't normally eat that, but he ate that there just to show respect. Custom, when in Rome, when in Rome. I love what I do because I believe that this word that was given to me, most of the time when I'm talking, I don't even know where it's coming from. And I believe that there's a higher power that's giving it to me. I've gone through so much stuff to be able to just say what I believe is right. And if you bring me around anytime, anybody, my word travels. I will tell you what I think is right, even if it's wrong, even if it hits me. Matter of fact, most of the time when it hits me, because that's the best story to tell. So I appreciate you and anybody else who allowed me to be able to speak for myself, because most of the things I've ever lost in my life has been because people were speaking for me.
So call it what you want to call it. Tommy is brilliant in its own right. But guys, there's a concept called cognitive dissonance. There's a concept called cognitive dissonance. And many of our women have it and some of our men have it as well. But guys, if you like what I'm doing, donate to the channel. Shout out to Salted Balls. He is the #1 sponsor of the stream. And I'm going to show you guys something else. I'm going to go on Tommy's channel on his IT Instagram. And Tommy, guys, talks about the behaviors of so many modern women. And you guys know Suki Hana and Sexy Red.
I don't want no fucking vibrator. I don't want.
And so, some will argue and said Tom is a hypocrite because he loved dealing with these ratchet women. But but men can argue some of us are hypocrites because a lot of men love ratchets. They don't want to make them their wives, but a lot of them love ratchet. Shout out to Kevin White for the $5 cash out. Thank you, Kevin White. Kevin White for the $5. I appreciate it, Kevin White. Thank you, Kevin White. Good brother. I appreciate it, Kevin. But these are the behaviors that Tommy talked about in Modern Women. Then we're going to get back to the show that him and I had in the past. But TJ, the architect, Tommy, the architect, it's funny how it seems our so-called queens, all they do is show off their body, play in their weave, and talk about sex. And he's correct. Nothing of value, of substance to our ad. Tattoos, weave. He said, "Is this queen behavior? Why the long nails and loud cutters? It's because deep down they know without all the histrionic, no one can or pay attention at all. That if they didn't offer sex, there would be," yeah, and he's right, there would be nothing else. There would be nothing else. And sadly, they don't offer nothing but sex, weave, and cheap liquor.
I don't want no rose, I don't want no dildo. I want some dick. Long, thick.
I mean, listen how disgusting this hyena is, man. Hold on.
I want to apologize to y'all for what I just did. I put up this video and it didn't have sound. Think about how many videos y'all have of our so-called.
And I hope I don't get monetized.
Exactly.
I hope I don't get monetized.
And yet you think I'm wrong for talking about this when it seems like that's all they
demonetized
to care about and have to offer. Go back and listen to my video about the fathers and why there's so many fathers and so few husbands, because they don't think they can attract a man without going for his libido, for his want to screw. Take away a man wanting to screw, they don't believe that a man would want them.
The typical American woman, guys, if you take away that three-letter word, would they have anything to offer you? And many would say no. And so, now this person is a transformer. And Tommy said, "Lady, these men out here posting that they look better and more feminine than y'all. So be honest, passport no." And this person said, "Look like a strong black woman." Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness, man. And so look at what Thomas say. This is what happened, guys, at the chicken place in, I believe in Florida. But is Tommy overreaching, guys, in your opinion? Or do you feel like, if you think Tommy's overreaching, hit one, but if you think that what Tommy's saying is true and that these women reflect so many of our women or overrepresent our women, I need you to hit two. And so, guys, you know, there's always been a propaganda to destroy black men, and Oprah has been one of them. And so, once again, Tommy has been controversial for a myriad of reasons because Tommy's often misunderstood, but he also tells the truth. But the truth is men or black men do take care of their kids. But there are a select percentage that I think is small that don't.
Of many of the myths surrounding black fathers, it found that the majority of black fathers live with their children. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie.
Right. And also the lie, guys, the lie about black men having a lot of kids out of wedlock is a lie. Because that's another lie that black men are having a lot of children out of wedlock. But we know it's only a percentage of men that are doing it. Are there black men impregnating women that running from their responsibility? Yes. But I would say it's a select type because, see, men cannot get
All right, so
XCX.
I want to talk about a messy room.
They can't get it, guys.
Look at that.
They can't get it unless a woman gives it to them. Okay, I want to show you guys this just hilarious chick. And look, this chick got long titties. He said this young lady is 24 with no children, yet look at how long they are. Again, I like all types of toddlers, but you ladies couldn't tell me why so many young women have sag and drag. She got some long toddlers. She got them swing low, sweet chariot toddlers. Hold on. We need to call on the spirit of Chantel Simone. He said, I'm not trying to be funny, but a lot of these scissor chests be sagging like a mug. And they be young too. Why is that? I mean, some of y'all women like this woman, Todd, black women longer than the movie JFK, the directs. I mean, them things longer than a Tupac double C. Wow. But I'm gonna get into the documentary in the meantime ahead, guys, and we're gonna ask ourselves the question: is Tommy this controversial? Do people hate the truth or what? And guys, this is what Tommy talks about, the BT 1000. And we know that there are some good sisters, but they try to shame good women away from ratchet behavior. But we know that there are some good sisters, but they try to shame the good ones as well. But look at this, guys. How can we have a vibrant black community where you got so many women like this that represent the populace? Because one will argue it's more women like this than not like this. And the lack of self-awareness is the biggest problem.
Yep. Because nobody thought that dancing on top of an overhang could go wrong. They were at a bus stop, and of course the woman does what she does. Got to get on top and shake her booty at everybody. You know, the people who don't want to be objectified, who end up objectifying themselves. As she stands there and shakes her booty on top of the thing, everybody then decides to sit on top of it. Now remember, it's at a right angle. All of the weight being at the end, and this tells you about the school system. That's right. They didn't tell them that having that weight over there on the other side and the other thing holding it probably wouldn't be able to counterbalance it. Therefore, the weight would overbear the little hinges that were probably holding that up because, well, the top of that was not meant to bear that much weight. But then, again, schools don't teach them that. Schools just teach them to get on TikTok and shake their butts. And then they could have went and killed several people who were underneath. And it was all fun and games. Why? Because the attention mattered more than the safety. As you can see it currently bending right now as it is struggling to stay up. And then out of nowhere, it gives way. And the people below.
And the man that walked under it, guys, y'all saw the black man that walked, he could have got killed. The girl that walked out could have got killed. But no accountability. No accountability, man. And instead of people trying to hold them accountable, they high-five one another and say, yes, girl, yeah.
Girl, yes. Okay now, baby, okay? Girl, yes. Okay now, baby.
And that kind of behavior, guys, is why we can't have a so-called vibrant future black community, because there is no accountability. And the lack of self-awareness is problematic.
One woman squished they fall on top of them. And this is the young people of today. Anything for clicks and views. Damn it, man. Damn it, man. I got a question for white people. When are you going to stand up for yourself? Hey, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, more people are starting to call out B-dubs for their whorish behavior. And not just their whorish behavior, but their whorish behavior in places where it shouldn't be. You know, like hospitals, you know, in places where it shouldn't be, like schools where I started this. Take a look at this.
Let me ask you guys a question to the single men. We know y'all desire black women. We know you do. But what percentage of black women in America, in your opinion, based on your own evidence or based on your experience, we know it's anecdotal, but based on your anecdotal experience, what percentage would you say are wife ready or wife worthy? I need some feedback, because either the truth is controversial, Tommy is controversial, or Tommy and the truth both are controversial, how Tommy disseminates the truth. So I need some feedback, guys. Give me some feedback, please. Because Tommy is definitely the king of controversy. Or is it the truth?
This woman at the hospital who decided to show her regular side and stripper side, and look at the comments and responses that people are starting to give. Take a look. She says, I give heart attacks. Now, notice how the shirt fits way too tight, and the pants do too. But we were told that black women are naturally shaped like this, and we can't help it. Even though this woman has an obvious BBL. But let's look at the responses that some people were giving, which I'm proud of. Take a look. Y'all get cornier by the day. Hospitals are not the place to create content, and I'm standing 10 toes down on that. The reason why it takes 2 to 3 hours to be seen, y'all back there being video fixes. Someone just want their IV. You in here showing gang. Y'all need to stop this BS and get out of facilities where people are dying.
True.
Chick, bring me my damn blood pressure cuff before I pass out. Why y'all gotta be clout chasing at our facilities? LOL. But she wasn't done. Check it out. This is her letting you know she's a nurse by day and a stripper by night. Now, I could be considered wrong, but I don't think so, because this is her page, and she's doing this on her page.
Now, remember, guys, this is your queens. And Ratchet, guys, is not limited to women from the hood. But a lot of us that bougie ratchet. A lot of us that bougie ratchet, guys. That so-called educated ratchet. And that bougie educated ratchet, guys, is just as bad as a hood ratchet. It ain't no different. But they want you to come back and marry a woman that's a nurse, but she's stripping and don't have no decorum. But they want you guys to save the community because they like self-awareness.
Think about it. Now, I could be wrong, but it appears that all B-dubs are good for is showing off their art.
All right, I'm going to show you guys this Jess Hilarious chick. And this is the one, guys. This is the one that says she's stand against trans men's. Against trans men's, not men. And maybe Jess Hilarious is so upset, guys, because Jess Hilarious look like a dude herself. Jess Hilarious got that pooty plate on her head, man.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered.
I don't like men no more. I said I like women. Women.
Yeah, that's just hilarious. So maybe that's why Jess Hilarious is so mad. Maybe that's why she's so mad, man. Jess Hilarious like somebody on Mike Tyson Punch-Out, man. Guys, if y'all take that weave, that makeup, them BBLs, guys, you would be grossly disgusted. Jess Hilarious, no disrespect to the young lady, but she looks like a dude, man. She looks like something on Mike Tyson Punch-Out. And some of y'all are asking if Jess Hilarious trans. No, I don't think she's a woman, but damn, she don't look trans. she had issues with the trans community because of what they said, but maybe Jess is projecting because she's a woman, but she really looks like a man. But Salty Balls, the #1 sponsor of the stream, guys. Donate to the channel and share the stream. And thank you to Salty Balls, my man, Kevin White. Thank you. But we're gonna get into it. Hold tight. But Tommy said it's Jess Hilarious was right, but why is she out here looking like Vegeta? Soon she gonna be 10,000 power up. I gotta get in this conversation. Let's up on the Twitter space. Man, yeah. Jess looks like a dude, man. And I'm gonna tell you something, guys. These chicks got so much weave in their head, man. That weave is taking their hair out, man. I mean, I don't know where her hair is at. But Jess looks scary. She looked real scary.
What the hell? What the hell? Y'all have to forgive me for getting into bed today.
All right, guys. I'm gonna show you guys something else in a minute. Hold tight. And he's right, Thomas right. So a black woman on Twitter posted this, to which a bunch of black simps started telling how amazing she looked and how I guess all black women look like her. Oddly enough, she posted the second page before. Now she's married to a black man, fellas. Stop taking the white man's leftover. Go after his prize. And I think Tommy got some good points. But some of these women are the way they are, guys, because too many men simp. We got a lot of simps.
So a woman sent me this photo, and she's, I guess what might be his girlfriend or his wife. But she sent me the photo, and she said, "What do you sellouts be thinking when you take photos like this?" Well, ma'am, I'm not currently with a white woman, but I'm going to do my best to try and attempt to tell you probably what he's thinking right now.
Oh my God. Her hair smells so good. I can see her scalp. I don't smell any corn chips or glue or sulfur. I can run my hands through her hair during sex and not be told don't pull it. Oh my God. I can see her edges. Think of all the money I'm going to be able to save on not having to buy weave and Gorilla Glue.
And guys, weave is $1 billion industry, and you would think that some women would dress to please their men, but they don't. They do it. Some would argue for the competition of other women. But the question once again remains: is this? Is Tommy the king of controversy? It's the truth that Tommy teaches controversial, or is Tommy complicit in his own demise because he lacks self-awareness himself? You guys tell me what y'all think. But once again, you cannot deny the brilliance of this man.
all types of hair products. My God, she's smiling. She looks so happy. She doesn't look like she's trying to fight me. Oh my God, look at, there are no tattoos on her neck and face. I can actually see her chest without a big B stamp across it. Oh man, I can actually take her to Popeyes and not have to worry about her getting into a fight. Oh my God, I don't think she'll ever win a twerking contest, and I think that'll be good. Jesus Christ, look at her stomach. It's actually slim. Look how she's holding me, making me feel like a man, not making me feel like I'm holding a man. Oh my God. She's got a cup and it ain't full of Henny and a Plan B. Oh goodness. I don't know what's, our children. Think about how our children will have good hair and not be called Blackie or Crispy. Oh my goodness, I can take her to the business functions and she won't start cussing people out and throwing drinks. Oh my God. She'll actually attend some of the PTA meetings. This is awesome. This is so awesome. I'm telling my friends.
I don't know what made you.
So, Tariq Nasheed is about to get y'all some reparations, huh? Well, can somebody tell me how Tariq Nasheed ended up getting robbed by some white people in New York?
I want to emphasize again, Tommy, a lot of the criticisms that you're leveling towards Jewish people, why not just level it towards people who just happen to be smart?
What criticism did I level? I would love to be able to have the rewind moment. What criticism did I level?
Well, you were talking about, various exploitation in the media, things of that nature, the kind of entertainment that was made for black people to consume. Those were the things that you were talking about.
And all I said was, have you noticed when you go behind the scenes on those names are usually Stein, but what about that was untrue?
Nothing.
I didn't level anything. I pointed out facts. You go look at it now. That's why, and as soon as I said it, somebody went and looked up Homeboys in Outer Space and saw who produced it. You go look up all these rap groups.
Yes.
Levine. You go look up and it's
Jerry Heller! Jerry Heller!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is insane. If it was a bunch of black people who just kept robbing a store and all somebody said was, well, everybody that came in that store were black, you're leveling claims against blacks. No. I'm actually pointing out what I saw. Like, I would understand if I leveled a claim and said, man, these Jews got it out for blacks. I pointed out there's something wrong when you have blacks being told that whites are the enemy and no one stands in and says what you're saying now about Jews, because it ain't all whites. And the same thing when we talk about liberals. Liberals aren't all going around behind Biden. Yet whenever we throw up liberals, no one sits there and comes in and corrects us and says, no, it's actually leftists. So why is it that now all of a sudden the answers and responses have gotten real long to me stating a fact?
All right, guys. So let's look at the conversation I had with Tommy. And we're going to bring it up. We're going to break it down. I had a great show with Tommy, and we're going to review it because Tommy's a man of many talents, but some would say controversial, too. Hold tight. Let me bring it up. Hold tight. Let me bring it up.
To realize that these people were serious passage for that young man. And we don't think about what type of damage it's done to him psychologically.
So from this conversation, guys, that Tommy and I had, we talk about the damage that a lot of boys and men struggle with when it comes down to abuse. And Tommy was greatly moved by this because Tommy was violated. He was violated as a young man. He was violated. And some of you men that are listening were violated. Guys, get the likes up and donate to the channel. Salty Balls is the #1 sponsor of the stream. Thank you.
Do you believe that there's a witch hunt on arresting the development of masculinity in your opinion? You believe there's some type of esoteric witch hunt where people are seeking to arrest the development of many men and boys?
When you have people like Dwayne Wade's son, being paraded out in front of the world at 12 years old as a girl and a beacon to other boys.
And you can say what you want to say about Tommy. Tommy is more conservative, like a lot of traditional men. Men are traditional. Black men tend to be traditional and more family oriented. And you guys can see what's happening now. And sadly, a percentage or a large percentage of our women vote for candidates and policies that are not consistent with forming strong families and strong communities. But you cannot deny what the man is saying is not the truth.
Is that want to be girls.
Right.
When you have Dwayne Wade taking his ex-wife to court so that his 14-year-old, 15-year-old can become legally a girl.
Right.
Before he can drive.
Right.
Yes, there's an immediate attack on men. The last part of it, why is it that you see more men turning into women? Why is it you can watch a commercial right now of some dad wearing a dress to make sure that his daughter, and they'll try to make it seem like it's a cute thing. It's like a rite of passage for that young man. And we don't think about what type of damage it's done to him psychologically.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, guys, I've never seen Tommy so removed or moved by his passion for seeing what's happened to not only or moved, but also happened to our families, but also to many of our young boys and men. I've never seen him so moved.
Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. You seem like you're going.
Oh, he dresses up in a dress to sit down and have tea with his daughter to make her feel good. Well, when's the last time you saw a commercial saying the mom did that for her son? That's the thing, what they're doing. They're trying to make sure that these boys don't want to become men. Because if you villainize men and you villainize manhood and you villainize masculinity, what child wants to grow up to be that which is hated?
Right. And you know, one of the things I can never understand, Tommy, I've always said this succinctly. I succinctly believe, Tommy, that if you want to have a vibrant black community, you cannot have a community without the man being the exemplar and the leader in that said relationship. I get very terse, Tommy, where I hear people on one end talking about pro-black and pro-community, but yet at the same damn time, they don't talk about the black man being the leader in that said community. What I see, Tommy, there's an epidemic is that there's a percentage, and I want to be very careful how I say this because people will take what you say and run with it. But there's a percentage of our women that when it comes down to servitude, they want black men to be beside them. But when it comes down to power, then they don't talk about community. The last election that you saw, they didn't vote for community, they voted for themselves. What's your take on that when it comes down to people that talk about community, but when we get a chance to speak truth to power, nowhere in that said community you see the black man being the leader in that community? Because see, I'm pro-community, pro-black first. I'm not pro-black. I'm pro-male first, pro-black man, pro-male first. And then everything else disseminates from that. What's your take on that?
Well, community. Community to me starts with you got to have the ability. It's a simple thing. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to, if it's time for you to go to doctor, you got your own doctors. Mm-hmm. Lawyers got your own lawyers.
And here's the crazy thing. So many had issues with Tommy because many want community, but they don't want respect associated with community. So many want a community, but they don't want the respect associated with having a strong community. Right.
You got your own infrastructure, got your own network.
Right.
And I don't think blacks have that because we don't have any of that stuff. We have to use somebody else's. Mm-hmm. And nobody's trying to build the infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Because if we were, then we wouldn't have that problem. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As far as building a so-called black community, well, the biggest thing about that is this. Black people are not trying to build a community because a community starts, number one, with family.
Right.
And number two, it has to have some kind of, let's just say we have a crest. And under that crest, we have credos. And that credo is what keeps us inside this community, what could get us kicked out of the community. The Amish have a community. Mm-hmm. Breaking certain standards can get you kicked out of that community. Mm-hmm. The standards are to help make it stronger and grow. Principles. What are our principles? I don't think we have this, so we can have people say, well, I'm for the black community. But as I said a long time ago, there is no black community.
There is no black community. Yes, I agree with you 1,000,000%. Yes, I've said it before. I've said it in the past. You and I think of Gen X. I'm from Gen X. I'm class of 90, where everything was everything. But it seemed like I call it the Gen X nexus. Around the 90s, things begin to precipitate and more or less go downhill for the worse. When did this great deluge happen, Tommy, when you began to see the dissolvement of family and also the dissolvement of masculinity? Do you think it was around our time period more so? We know it was happening in the 80s, but do you think it became more pronounced in the 90s and it's transcended to something totally unrecognizable now?
I think it started to go left at the beginning of the 90s. I do. Mm-hmm. I think it was black men don't. Okay, I'm going to say something I don't know how you'll see. No, black men have always, they don't mind sharing with their woman. Mm-hmm. When we started rap, we started teaching the women to rap and had no problem with them rapping. Mm-hmm. Although white people, when they did certain things, it took them a while before they let their women do it. Mm-hmm. Their women couldn't even act in plays when they first started. Right. Their women couldn't do rock and roll when they first started. That's not what women do. Their women couldn't do sports. As soon as we did rap, we brought women in it immediately.
Right.
We taught them how to rap. We wrote raps for them. We wanted them to be included. We never did the whole she can't be included. From the time even when we were little, I remember my cousin, she could play basketball. And what did they say? She good enough to play, Brent, let her out here. We didn't care if it was a girl. We let her play. Mm-hmm. I think men are probably the most black men are the most progressive when it comes to their women.
Right.
They are.
Right.
But we don't get credit for it.
We don't get credit for it. Right.
Mm-hmm. But that was the problem. So in our quest to make black women equal, they still kept listening to the whole idea. And you can look back in the 60s. They decided to go with the white women and say that we're being oppressed. Well, your man literally wasn't oppressing you.
Right.
But you decided to be a feminist.
Right.
In the 90s.
And that's always been my point of contention. Black men never had the power to oppress. We never had policies to oppress our women. When you ask them what policies do black men use, because oppression is normally at the policy level, they can't tell you. But they will always go back to victimhood in the form of domestic violence, and they associate all black men with domestic violence, which is a lie as well. Because abuse is bi-directional. But we don't talk about that, sadly.
Black men wanted their women to have a part of whatever it was they were doing. We didn't say women can't be cinematographers, women can't be directors, women can't be, we never said this. Mm-hmm. So women got a foothold and then started looking at men as less than, even though we helped put them in the spot that they were in. So now you hear these women in the late 80s, early 90s going on Sally Jeffrey, Raphael, and all these other shows. And what were they saying? That they were better than their men.
Right.
That's what the 90s brought. I'm better than you, even though you helped me get up here. I let you get on my shoulder to look up there, and you look down.
And some do think they're better than you. The show I did last night, we talked about a percentage of women dealing with men when it comes down to giving them less than kids by other men. They tell you got to get your act together if you want to be with them. So I agree with Tommy in that particular aspect.
Right. I'm taller than you.
Right.
That's what happened. And I think that's one of the worst parts of this, that we could have been better and we're not.
Shout out to my man Top Gun for the $9 stupid sticker. He said that 100% agree that all people that look alike are not part of my tribe. And I agree with that 100%. And that's a deal, right, brother?
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Channel, Top Gun. I appreciate
that's
it, man.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
I appreciate you being here, man. I count it an honor and a pleasure. I consider you one of the.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I consider you one of the you and Angry Man. I'm sitting and also O'Shea, but I do consider you were like the Ancient of Days. You know, in the Bible they talk about the Ancient of Days, and you like the Alpha. and you've always been there. You know, you carry a lot of weight in this space. You're very talented. You're very funny. But Tommy, there are some that see Tommy as a pariah. There are some that actually venerate Tommy, but then there are some that misunderstand Tommy. Between the three, Tommy, which one would you say fits you the most? Are you a pariah? Are you venerated? Or are you misunderstood?
I guess I would not like to call myself a pariah. I don't know what venerated is. I know venerable. I know I'm not. I don't think. And so the next thing I'm gonna say I'm misunderstood.
Okay, all right, fair enough. What do you think causes people to be to see you in a light, because you're very cogent in your debates. You're fun as hell. You're extremely funny. I'll be in the back just dying laughing sometime. But what makes Tommy so misunderstood? There will be some Tommy that say that Tommy hates black women. I don't think you hate black women. I think you hate bad behavior. I listen to you all the time. You said many of your parishioners are actually black women. But why do people always castigate you in that negative light, saying that Tommy hates black women?
Well, because if you say that a person is constantly talking about this thing in a negative way, then you think they may hate it. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with people thinking I hate black women. I don't have a problem with them saying that because there's still just a point I'm trying to prove. Mm-hmm. That's it. So I'm trying to make a point. Whether you think I hate black women or not, why can't we just say, do you have a point? Mm-hmm. That to me is the most important thing. Does he have a point? Because why does hatred of something matter if you're still right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. I agree. I totally agree. I've always believed, Tommy, that, consistent with theology, just like the Father gave the Son guidance and provision and gave him enlightenment when he was down in distress, it's safe to say, Tommy, in my mind, that many boys and men has lost their purpose because they don't have the Father. They don't have the Father in place to give them structure, because in my mind, Tommy, the Father is the epigenesis to all life. All enlightenment comes to the Father. Many times, Tommy, we say that the woman is the first teacher, but that's a misnomer. The woman is the first teacher at the behest of the man. The woman becomes the first teacher when the man disseminates the knowledge to the woman, and the woman is in synchronicity with the admonition of the Father. But we live in a time now, Tommy, so many men are emasculated. As a licensed therapist, I talk to men from a spectrum. I talked today to a guy that was a surgeon. He was talking about, got 41 in the house, guys, got 50. Salty Balls, the #1 sponsor of the stream, guys. Donate to the channel. Thank you to the 50 that are tuning in. Donate to the channel if you have not. And also to Kevin White, the second donor. Let's get this party jumping, guys, as we talk about the king of controversy and Tommy Sotomayor. So if you don't have any money to share, please share the stream. If you don't have money to donate, to share the stream. Thank you, guys. He makes X amount of money. But you have a lot of women that have narcissistic traits. They don't aggrandize their women. They don't build their women. They don't love their women. They don't show their women support. They don't show their men, or more or less be like Teddy Pendergrass said, you inspire me. Why is it so important for a man, Tommy, to have a woman that can inspire him to pour or put life into him? Because I'm convinced, Tommy, that when a man is in a relationship where a woman is inspiring him, not only will that man win, but that woman will win at the same time. What happened to the woman? Go ahead, brother.
Not only will that man or that woman win, but the thing you were saying we need more of would win, and that's called the community. Because that man will become more communal at that point to want to build for everything around him. Because you got to remember, you want to build a safety net around your wife and your children.
Right.
So would you want to have your wife and your kid live in a house that's really safe next to a house that's really unsafe? So you would work with your neighbors and you'd work with them to make sure that the net around my family was bigger, because I want to protect them.
Right.
Men, for some odd reason, want to protect everything from Armor All on their damn tires to putting a thing over their grill during the wintertime. We like to protect things. Tell me I'm lying.
I agree.
We like to protect our cars, to make sure we put that thing over it so the sun don't beat it down and mess up the paint. We like to protect our seats. We like to protect the things that we like. One of the things that we typically like are the women that we choose.
Right.
And if you want to see a man run through a wall, have a woman that inspires him.
Yes, sir.
That woman will make that man get up every morning and go to a job that he hates, just to be able to provide something for her that she likes. Y'all didn't hear me.
Yes, you're right.
That man will go to a job that he hates to provide for the children that he has with the woman he likes. That man will go through activities and pain and words. And
guys, that's why we got the passport bros. Thus came the passport bros. Thus came men more or less understand the right to self-determination?
Acts that break him down, because he knows when he brings himself back to that woman, she's going to build him together, build him up.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, one of the greatest parts about being a man is having that woman be able to piece you together. And when you really love a woman, let me tell you something. When you really love a woman, her touch can heal you.
Right.
Her being near you can excite you and invigorate you. And it's almost like a gas station. Every time you come to that woman, she fills you back up.
She fills you up.
With pride.
Yes.
Fills you with joy. She fills you with love. And that's what happens when she inspires you.
Yes.
You write better music when you're a writer. You paint better pictures when you're a painter.
Yes. And see, guys, we have women that Tommy is talking about, because the woman was supposed to nurture and install her man, just like man was supposed to worship God. The woman was supposed to worship God, but also to worship man through God, meaning she worshiped God first, but she worshiped her man indirectly like Sarah did, because Sarah called Abraham Lord. There's a Lord of the heavens, but there also is a Lord of the earth. And the woman was created to have a type of worship. They don't see the worship of God, but she was supposed to install or reverence her man. But women always talk about black men don't build, but damn it, black men can say black women don't nurture. Because you can expect black men to build, but you don't even nurture your men. You don't support your men. Your energy is toxic. Your men got situational erectile dysfunction because the women are so cantankerous. So you can't ask your man to build something when you're not trying to build and help that man build yourself. Men that get feminine support of women, they build because they are relaxed and they're not stressed out. But when a man is stressed out, the good book said that a cantankerous woman will run a man to the rooftop. So many men come home and sit in their cars because you're so toxic. And that's the problem. If you want black men to build, then what you need to start doing, you need to start nurturing your black men. Shout out to my man, Greg with Scotland. Greg with Scotland always coming through and showing love. Gregory Scotland, Salty Balls, always showing love. Gregory Scotland said, yes, Kosher, truth is very controversial now. Look at the games YouTube is playing with giving Crimson her plaque. Fresh and Fit, Dennis Sperling, both of you and Dr. Thunder, and your notifications. Yes, I totally agree. Because a lot of times y'all don't get my notifications, guys. So we know the truth is being suppressed. And this kind of content is very hard. But in the meantime, thank you, Gregory Scotland, as you are the second #1 sponsor of this stream. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's the money.
Yes.
A good woman, a woman that inspires you,
right,
makes a man talk about this woman like she's a lottery ticket that won. I've seen.
Shout out to my man, Salty Balls. He said, salute to Tommy. He threw my ass out of the chat room. He was like, who in the fudge is a Salty Balls? Get your beat ass out of here. But I understand. And these YouTube, you may not know who's a friend or foe, no doubt. And I appreciate it. Salty Balls, thank you, sir. And that's the deal, right?
That's the deal, right? That's the deal, right? Got 5 on it.
men who've been inspired by their woman, and they talk about that woman like she's the greatest thing on earth, because to him, she is. So yes, that's the job of the relationship between the two. And the biggest thing is we have lost it in the Black community. It's an adversarial relationship.
It's an adversarial relationship.
Nobody's trying to uplift anybody. Nobody's trying to be anybody's, I don't know, your feng shui, your oasis, your thing you come to and you love. Nobody's trying to be that. We're trying to be at odds with each other. And that's why we have an at odds society. Everything's odd about Blacks because we're at odds with each other.
Right. I totally agree, brother. Shout out to my man, The Storm for the 10. I appreciate it for that $10 cash out, brother. Thank you for showing love. And I'm going to ask you another question, Tommy, because as we talked about over-identification, we've also created what I call Raekwon the Man-Man, and Day-Day culture. You know, we created Raekwon the Man-Man and Day-Day. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But in the meantime, shout out to my man, Brandon, my man, for that team. Shout out to Black Merlin for the 5, man. That's a deal, right? I appreciate it, Black Merlin. Thank you, brother, for showing love and showing kindness as Tommy and I dissect this very. But back to what you were saying, Tommy, you are 1,000,000% correct. When Teddy said you inspire me, femininity, Tommy, is so powerful. When a man and woman come together in unison, the synchronicity of a woman can propel a man to his highest heights. I've always said, Tommy, that they were optimized to be synchronized. And basically what that means is that men and women, when they come together through synchronicity, they're like a explosion. In the science, there's a word called a symbiotic relationship. But Tommy, we live in a world now where people say they want equality of opportunity, but they don't want equality of outcome. And you talked about the egalitarian nature that so many men have bestowed upon their own psyche now, Tommy, to the point that men are only a mirror of themselves. What do you think about the mental health and the mental wellness of men, as men and men mental health has been eroded because they have that egalitarian mindset?
Once you've gotten to the point where men don't matter, then men are going to erode. We just talked about how great it is when the men and women get together and how it invigorates that man.
Right.
Well, imagine that they're at odds and this woman is constantly saying, I need my rights. And you're constantly giving this woman her rights. You don't want to oppress her, so you don't mind. You say, hey, if you feel oppressed, let me help you out here. Let me do this. And then it doesn't work out. And then you're asked for more, and you're asked for more, and you're asked for more. And after a while, you're giving, but you're not getting anything back. The mindset, the mentality of that person is broken, it's beaten down. And then when you're told you can't speak about it, you can't say anything about it. Imagine being hurt, broken, how these women are, hurt, broken, and no one cares. They tell you to move on. That's hard to deal with. That's hard to deal with on a person's mind. And after a while, your mind folds. After a while, your mind collapses. And we're dealing with a lot of mental issues that these men are having from that, and goes back to what you were talking about earlier. They were children. They were still told, boys, men.
And once again, guys, that's why I do what I do when it comes down to trying to inspire men and giving men a platform to talk about their thoughts and their pain. There is a nefarious attack on masculinity. I know it, guys, and y'all know it. And it's unfortunate, sadly.
Men suck. Men don't matter. From the time when you hear songs like girls are made from sugar and spice and everything nice. And what are men made of?
Puppy tail
snails and puppy dog tails.
Yes, sir. Right.
Now imagine, why would you even be able to say something like this? Why is it that now we have all these things to make sure that the girls are doing well? Well, you want to see the result of it? Look at how many men versus women are committing suicide.
Yes. Right.
Because they suffer in silence. When little girls are molested and are worded, we care. When little boys are, we start to look at them side-eyed and say, since that happened to you, maybe you're gay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever says that to a woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was saying, I apologize, guys. I say a lot of men have went through that periodically where no one was there to hear him or understand him and to hear his pain. Mm-hmm. And you know, I did a show, man. I did a show with a fellow therapist, and I'm gonna show you a clip of it in a minute. He was
Keep talking, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. He was touched at a young age, Tommy. And because he was touched, it broke him in a negative way. This brother was touched, and he became hypersexual. And a lot of times, guys, when boys and men are touched, some become very rigid in their position with women, but some become hypersexual to the point that many will begin to objectify women. They will begin to minimize the importance of intimacy in a relationship. And sometimes, Tommy, they can have a great disdain for women because they see that woman as the arbiter of the pain that was transmitted unto them. Boys begin to see women as the arbiters of pain that was transmitted to them. And that's why we got to have these cogent discussions. You know, Tommy, where I'm from, David Ruffin, he used to sing with the Temptations. And what I found out, David Ruffin's people are from my hometown. I couldn't believe it. And David Ruffin went through a lot of abuse. David Ruffin went through physical abuse, who was more or less transmitted into post-traumatic stress, which led to alcoholism, which led to hypersexuality. I heard you, Tommy, talk about something that you went through, and it was very dear to my heart. And I don't know if this causes you to have a conniption when you talk about it, but you were touched. I remember you talking about it on the stream. And how has that shaped you, Tommy, into being the man now? Do you feel like it made you hypersexual, hyposexual, or do you think it gave you a negative disdain for women in general? Because some will argue that, now, God, this is going to be very critical because people that are traumatized, depersonalized, and also they disassociate. But Tommy was violated as a child too. But like Michael Jackson said, they don't really care about us because when it happened to the girls, as disgusting as it is, where's the same concern when it happened to young boys or even some men, especially if they're in prison and they got to deal with men like Fleece Johnson.
I encourage you to say so. I'm not no shame in my game. This is nothing that I'm ashamed to admit. I am what I am. I'm a warrior too, you know, so let that be known. I'm a warrior.
When you became more or less violated by grown women, that it gave you a visceral hatred for perhaps those people that look like the opposite sex. What would you say about that?
Nah, I tell people all the time, I couldn't have been a simp if I hated them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was a simp because I thought, hey, these people are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You started to realize, how can you say these people are awesome when these people, even though they violated you, you still give them the benefit of the doubt? Mm-hmm. Imagine being in a family that mistreated you, and you still wanted to be family with them. So what did you do? You allowed them back into your life. You won the lottery. You allow them back.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens? They mistreat you again.
Right.
And they mistreat you again. And when you tell them that they're mistreating you, what happens then when you see that, oh, me telling them that they're mistreating me has not helped either. Me telling them that they're mistreating me has made them continue to mistreat me, or they don't feel sorry.
And the people that have mistreated many of these men were the same women that were supposed to nurture these men. I'm a firm believer that some of these men simp because they're still looking for validation from women. That's why some of you men need to heal and get a non-diagnostic consultation before you go abroad and get you a wife. Women only respect power and strength. The more you simp, the more you kiss her behind, the less she respects you. But the more you stand firm in your masculinity, the more she will respect you.
For what they've done. Mm-hmm. Well, that type of shit that hurts, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That hurts enough to make you start saying, wait a minute, maybe these people are just evil, or maybe they're just the type of people who will go around and do messed up things like this to people. Mm-hmm. Then when someone tells you a story that they did it to them, now you realize they're a serial violator.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I started talking to other people in an honest moment, I started to realize that these people were serious serial violators because they were continuing to do the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I looked at. I said, you know what, these women that because look at it this way. I told my mother at the age of 19 what happened to me at the age of 10.
Right.
I told her, she laughed. Mm-hmm. The one person I thought would have protected me and would have thought, hey, but then maybe at a part of me, well, I didn't know how to explain it. when I was young. So I didn't know how to explain what had happened to me. But when I got older enough, I thought she'll understand it. And maybe she'll even say something to the person or the people that allowed it to happen.
Right.
Instead, women can't violate boys. Boys like it, is how it was looked at. And that really hurt. So I still went on to try to treat women the way that I thought they were supposed to be treated. I still went on to say that women are victims, because you got to think of it. What they told me was basically, I can't be a victim.
Right.
So I realized that the more I did it, the more these women were not only taking advantage of me, they were taking advantage of other people. And I started to get angry then. That's when I got angry.
Do you still carry that anger now? Is there still a visceral level of anger?
Not of that, but yes, I still carry that anger. Right. Because you got to understand, I've been through a lot with women, and I've never really even tried to say much of how much I've been through with women, but I've been through a whole lot. And after a while, again, like you said, like I said, when you've been through it and then you've seen that they put other people through it, you start to get a little bit mad. And I got mad, and I said, these men's stories need to be heard. That's all it was. These stories need to be heard. We need to stop acting like these stories don't need to be heard. We're going to hear these stories, and I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to say, this is wrong. And that's what I did. That was it.
Yeah, man. You know, and you know, first of all, I'm empathetic to your situation because I understand that the past and trauma shapes the reality of many men now. And, you know, when I look at R. Kelly, you know, R. Kelly was touched. He went through what I call being a dissociative personality, and I'm guesstimating. He went from Robert Kelly to R. Kelly. A lot of men were touched. Rick James said he was touched. And when you look at it, man, you like, well, how were so many boys touched and great as little boys? And it's baffling because, you know, we've always been conditioned to think that, women were good. And we saw our mothers as the healers of our mind, because mothers are the nurturers of the mind. But you know, now we're beginning to see many times, Tommy, that boys continue to go through that negative cycle. And I'm gonna share something with you, Tommy. When I worked in law enforcement, when I worked with the Department of Juvenile Justice, there were a lot of women molesting boys back then. They were touching a lot of the boys.
Thing.
Right.
This has been a thing. This is not new. It's been a thing. The problem is we don't take it seriously. We think it's like a rite of passage for that young man. And we don't think about what type of damage it's done to him psychologically. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. And as you guys can see, Tommy was notably upset because of what he's been through. But see, God, this is what happens when you don't give a person a voice. When you don't give a person a voice to speak, this is what happens. You seem like you're going to do a catharsis. And once again, man, I'm honored to have you on the panel, man. You know, this is a good conversation. And I am an advocate for men. As a therapist, when I went to UNC Chapel Hill, a lot of my work was similar work was for the advocacy of men. So once again, man, I'm honored to have you on the panel. Your story is very interesting. And I think at your core that you're a good man. I think at your core that you have a lot of brokenness that sometimes comes manifest in anger. In the clinical time, we call it displaced aggression. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But in the meantime, shout out to my man Ash for the $100 super chat. He said, TKC, great show. Love your guest. As a Gen Xer, it's good to see Thomas Sotomayor back on these YouTube streets. In 2019, 2020, I found him via the algorithm watching Tommy, which led me to Obsidian, which led me to the Kosher Clinician. Thank you for all you do, retired United States Air Force, no doubt, brother. And that's a deal, right?
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
You know, Tommy, you had a catharsis a minute ago. You had one of those moments where you were reflecting on the brokenness that you've been through.
I was reflecting on what?
You were reflecting in appearance of the brokenness or the pain that you've been through. If you could create, Tommy, a perfect woman to be your wife.
I guess I wasn't talking about the pain. At that moment, I wasn't talking about the pain because I guess I'm resigned to things that hurt me.
That's right.
Like most men, when things happen to you, you accept them. It's like you'll accept somebody hitting you, but you won't accept somebody hitting your kid.
Right.
You'll accept you working in miserable conditions, but you don't want your kids to. So what happened with me was just a second ago, I was thinking about all those stories I've heard from other people. and that these stories, because as you brought them up, these short stories shouldn't exist.
Right.
This is a problem that when we were talking about what's going on in the Black community, the reason why I think that the whole male-female relationships won't work because we don't value what we create together.
Yes.
And that's what I'm watching when we don't care about the children.
Can't hear you, Tommy. I don't know what happened.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, sir. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice it happened. I hit the mute. But I said, what bothers me is I know I'm a broken man. I understand that I'm a broken man. I can't be saved. But you have youth that can be saved. And if I don't value what you and I create together, then I damn sure won't value you. And I damn sure don't value a community. So we've all become just a bunch of selfish people because we don't value children. It starts there. If you value children, you value who you had it with. If you value who you had it with, you value who you had them around. That's how you build a community. And what makes me so upset is that these children are literally walking the damn streets, but somebody's telling us women are the most underserved and women are the least protected. Bull crap.
Right.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. And I agree. We don't protect our boys. We see it many times, not only in academia, but we see it all over the world. Shout out to my man, Mr. Charles, for that $2 super sticker. He said, protect Black boys so they can become men. And that's a deal right there. And I appreciate it. But you know,
You are talking to kid.
one of the things
You're dying. Oh my.
that I see when it comes down to protection is that you talk about a Black community, Tommy, but that Black community many times does not include boys being raised up to the same level that we raised our girls. Is it safe to say that we say Black girl magic and Black girl rock? If I had to create a t-shirt, Tommy, I might create it. On that t-shirt, it would say Black boys rise. Because who's rising Black boys in America? Who's giving the Black boys the encouragement to push forward? Because I'm aware, or I succinctly believe, Tommy, that your men are your warrior class. And you cannot have a warrior class, Tommy, unless you satiate or more or less aggrandize the warrior class. What happened to women, Tommy, that more or less built the warrior class? And I got an idea, but I want to hear from your perspective.
Say it again.
What would you say? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Because I was just saying it was muffled a little bit.
It was muffled. What happened to the women that built the warrior class?
You have to explain to me, well, who are these women? I don't remember them days. I don't remember them days. I mean, it don't mean they didn't exist. I was just saying, like, I'm listening. I'm like, well, the women built the warrior class. I think the warrior class has always had to be built by the men. Men teach boys sacrifice. Men teach boys also how to build. Men teach boys how to save. So I was raised by my mama. I didn't learn how to save. I learned how to spend.
Right.
I didn't learn how to be needed. I learned how to need. And a lot of these things, now I will say this. My grandfather was around and he worked his ass off. So when you wonder about me working, well, I saw my granddad. That was really easy for me to work because I saw him. Now, when it comes to this warrior class, I would have to know how you're defining the warrior class and all those things. And then I could say, well, women were building them. But now I don't think women build out fighters because women will build a soft fighter. I don't know if you want a woman building a fighter. I don't know. That's why I was saying I need more from you about this.
Yeah, so what I mean by the warrior class is this, Tommy. Women build the warrior class by nurturing into the boys to become successful, like what you talked about a minute ago. The way you build a warrior class is by protecting the emotions and the ego of a man. That's what I mean by that. So what I'm saying is that has there ever been a time that you can recall where women were synonymous with protecting the ego of boys and men and building the warrior class through their femininity? That's what I'm talking about.
Well, yes, I know women used to make it to where the men wanted to do these things. Like that's what a father did. See, a father made it to where a boy could discern between who to give his masculinity to. You didn't just give it to everybody.
Right.
You gave it to who you chose. You gave it to your family. You gave it to them. Then you gave it to your community. When you have a simp just gives it to anybody with a vagina.
Right.
But seriously, he does not make a difference between the type of women who would be just something as simple as for one night and for a life. So you got one for a night and one for a life. Well, if you're a simp, you cannot tell the difference between them. And if you have this proliferation of simps, then what you have is a bunch of women who themselves look and say, well, there's no reason for me to rest in my femininity because this motherfucker can't tell the difference. And if he can't tell the difference, why not do the easier thing than the harder thing? What people don't understand is humans, no matter how much you talk about work and stuff like that, Humans typically want things to go relatively easy, and they want to get the most pleasure with the least amount of work.
Right.
If a woman can get to sleep with several men and enjoy herself and then still can settle down, she's going to take that route.
Right.
If a woman can have as much fun as she wants for as long as she wants, she's going to take that route. And that's what we're allowing when a simp comes in and says, you got to protect that woman even from herself.
Right.
Ooh, that's a problem.
Yes.
So that's screwing up the society both ways. You're saying, protect that woman from herself. That man's realizing there's nothing really he can get out of that. So now you start to have more and more simps, because then simps have to be able to accept that, well, you're not really getting anything out of it but being this guy. Right. Well, the girls are saying, well, since there's a bunch more of those guys than that other guy, it's just weird. You talked about a symbiotic relationship. Men and women will always have a relationship. We're always going to work together. It's just, are we going to be right side up or topsy-turvy?
Right.
That's it.
I call it relationship turbulence. And there's a lot of relationship turbulence now, to the point now, Tommy, I created a term called simp surfers. You know, simp surfers is synonymous to the silver surfer, and they go across the internet causing chaos. And this is what they normally say, Tommy, the simp surfers.
These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these pit fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
Simp surfers, Tommy, cause confusion, like, the silver surfer. He went across the internet, not the internet, the Galactica, but many times simp surfers cause confusion. They're old tropes, Tommy. Many times is your mama black, you're gay, and who hurt you? You're a very masculine man, in my opinion, but many times people call you gay, your mama black, or whatever. What do you deal with, or how do you handle all that negative press that's transmitted towards you, where these fools more or less cast aspersions is not substantiated in reality?
Move over to the idea of, I know they're doing it to other people, so make sure that other people understand that this is what they're doing. Like you have a guy was telling people, I live in a hotel. I don't have a house. They see the house. The broadcasting from the house. Did it show yesterday right by the pool? They literally see it.
Right.
They don't care. So what you try to do is tell people, you have people in the black community that do not believe in arguing your point. They believe in calling you a name. And we feel like if I call you enough names, we won.
Right.
I won. You call me enough names. I won. That's what I would talk to people about. I want them to understand that whole idea of don't let people who are going to say something stupid about you, don't let them, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to constantly say something stupid about you. That's what they're going to do when you're right. The closer you get to the target, the more someone's going to try to move you away. Think it. If a shooter is shooting and they're way missing you, they're not even close. Are you going to worry about that? You're going to hope they stay there and keep missing. If a shooter shoots at you and the bullet hits by your foot, you're going to move. You're going to try to move them. You're going to try to divert their attention. And that's what you have. When you are speaking a truth, you will realize what's going to happen.
Right.
You're hitting too close to them.
Right. And the thing that I found so perplexing is that we not only have selective outrage, but we also have a condition called cognitive dissonance. Tommy, I created an acronym called DEAF, and DEAF mostly stands for this. They deny the evidence when you present them with the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They will argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message, and they will fight you or flee because they are deaf. There's a cacophony going on inside their head that prevents them from hearing the truth. Why is truth under attack, in your opinion?
Well, because once truth comes out, the excuse goes away. If you know, it's easier to blame somebody else. So if we don't have the truth, I can always say, it could be this, it could be that. When you have the truth, everybody, it's just like if you cheating or your girl cheating.
Right.
As long as she doesn't know, or as long as you don't know, you could always say, where I was last night, I was with my homeboys. She might not believe you, but she doesn't know the truth. Easy to swallow. If you know the truth, though, guess what you have to deal with? There's no more, maybe she wasn't answering her phone because she was asleep. Maybe he didn't answer his phone because he died. No, they was fucking. So now we know this. And now what do you have to deal with? How do I move forward? She can't, or you can't lie about you tripping. That's hard to deal with.
Right.
Especially if you still love someone. Because now you feel violated with that truth. And what do most people say? I wish I didn't know.
Right.
Once they found out, you wish you didn't know. Why do you think most men stay away from the doctor's office? Because they don't want to know. As long as my body's still moving, I'll let this boil sit here. I'll just cover it up a little bit. I'll deal with it. My chest hurting a little bit, but I don't want to go to the doctor because he might tell me my heart about to give out. Oh, I'll do that. We don't want to know because that truth means we have to do something. That's the horrible part. It's the scary part. I got to do something now.
Right. Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong. You're from Central America, correct?
I'm Panamanian, but I'm from Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay, right. So being from Panama, how was that culture different when it came down to the male-female relationships? How were Panamanian women different in your mind as far as being feminine, being respectful, and also being the type of woman that you would probably want to marry? How are they different, or how were they different than American women?
Yeah, they got some American stuff about them, but in general, family matters because a lot of the area I grew up in was really broke, and so family matters. But two, men kind of have a control. And that's a lot of the difference. So they feel like pleasing a man. They still feel like pleasing a man is kind of the thing that they will do. Hell, the men were able to have multiple women.
Right.
I was a kid, so I only know most of it from how my father's relationship was with his wife. I just think that there's a value in family. And here, there's no value in family. If you don't value something, you're not going to treat it very well. If people value their kids like they value their MAC makeup, their Louis Vuitton bag, or their Jordan shoes, we'd have a better brand of children. If people value their wives or girlfriends or any of these people like they value these things that they go out and work to get, we'd have a different community. So I think that's what it is. I just think that people grow up there, and the girls grow up wanting to be a wife one day. That's a difference. Somebody spend their whole childhood wanting to prepare for this thing one day.
Right.
Nobody wants that here in the United States.
You know, Tommy, I got girls. My oldest is around in her mid-20s. Do you think the fathers sometimes teach their daughters to condition men to be simps? And if so, what should men do to let their daughters know that they don't deserve anything from a man, but they must earn it? Because it's the daddy girl complex. I got 3 girls. And many times our girls are, so we see them as special. But I teach my daughters, even though they're good women, that you got to earn everything you get. So I call it the princess complex. So what's your take on fathers being complicit in teaching men to simp for their women?
I don't think we do. I think we teach our girls to be dykish. Let me explain. Let me tell you why. Because we typically don't want, like the first time my daughter have sex, I want it to be 3 days after I die.
Right. Why you say that for? Because you can't handle it.
Because men don't want nobody sleeping with their daughter. I don't care who it is. No, I don't want you sleeping with my daughter. So we don't teach you to be no simp because we don't give a shit how much money you spend on our daughter. I still don't want you sleeping with my daughter. You can take my daughter to the finest restaurant it is. I still want her to go home. I'd rather my daughter be able, and what I tell my daughter is, let me make sure I give you enough money so you don't have to go to some man and get it. So I don't think we teach them to be simps. I think we tell them, pay for your own meal. Therefore, you don't feel like you owe that man something. So look at what we're teaching women. Fathers are not telling their daughters, when you go and sit down, you make sure he pays for that meal. At least I don't.
Right. Well, I think we teach them to be simps, guys. Here's how we teach our men to be simps when they come out of our daughters. Because we see them as princess. We want to give our girls everything. And so indirectly, we daddy simp, which in essence make our girls think that they're entitled instead of earning the love and respect from a man. I believe the father should teach their daughters to work hard and that they're not entitled to anything, just like men are not entitled. And I think when you do that, then women would not be as susceptible to expect anything from a man.
Maybe I'm preaching from the standpoint of what I'm trying to put out there in the world, but I think I also know if I pay for a woman something, I want something in return.
Right.
Real. Right. If I buy you a number 8 at McDonald's, I still want some sex. You're not gonna give me no sex. I'm not getting you this number 8. I'm not getting you the 10-piece nuggets, girl. You know what you got to do with that? I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready to do that tonight, baby.
Right.
You gotta get a 5-piece. You gotta get a 5-piece. But so I think now that I know that we teach we're big on education for our daughters. Men want to send their daughters to college. Men want their daughters to graduate. Men want their daughters to get a really good job. So I don't think we teach men to simp. I think what we do is we teach men to, as the women love to say, level up. If you might get my daughter, but man, I'm gonna hope that I've taught my daughter to pick a man that's going to value her as she values him. Because you know your daughter's going to value the man she with, especially if she's close to you. She's going to look for you in that man. And y'all just, it hurts to remember. Remember how she used to always want to get up in your lap and lay up on daddy and rub daddy's face till she went to sleep? That's how she gonna get in his lap. That's how she gonna ride him and rub his face and kiss on his neck. And all that stuff is gonna make you sad, but you made that woman want to cling to that man because she loved her daddy. And she's going to miss that, wanting to cling to her father. And as a matter of fact, what she'll do when she gets that man that she's really into, because she ain't gonna bring none of them niggas that she just doing a thing with around you because she respects you. Right. When she get that one that she think is really cool for her, you're the first person she bring him to.
Bringing them to dad, right? Right. Well, what I mean,
she wants you to look over him.
Right.
So she don't teach a man to simp. She actually is wanting and looking for a man that's already pretty much close to being made a man because she knows you're going to point out his deficiencies. She know you. That's why when they bring up their first little mess around with friend, they bring him around mama because mama got leeway. Mama will say that thing that you're doing with him is all right. You don't want daddy to know because daddy going to be hard on this person. Right. So I don't think they teach him the simp. I think they teach him that, hey, there's going to be somebody here. It's like a job interview. This guy is going to, you need to wear a suit. You need to this because this person I'm trying to, and I just think that they do a better job of taking care of themselves. The simping comes from, I don't think most girls with dads be on the internet telling guys in their DMs, I can't pay my phone bill. Let me get $50 from you so they can get a bunch of money in their account.
Okay.
Some other girls do that.
Right. But I guess what I'm talking about, Tom, is that we teach our daughters to condition the men to be simps, meaning a lot of times dads are mesmerized by their daughters' persuasion, Tommy, when it comes down to their daddy's girls. So sometimes daddy's girls get what they want. Therefore, when it comes down to the relationship with their boyfriend or their husband, the man don't set boundaries because she's so used to being treated like daddy's girl. That's what I'm talking about. If that makes sense.
Yes, but I always talk about this idea of simping. I don't think it's simping if you're doing it for your woman. And I think that my daughter understands that. And my daughter doesn't say guys should do a bunch of things for me. Right. She says my guy should do a bunch of things for me. And I think that, remember when I said if I had a father, I wouldn't think I should do for all girls. I would do for my girl. Because that's what you do. I don't think I should do for all communities. I do for my community. That's what a man does. He protects his. They tried to make it, they made a man a societal man. This man must love all black women, not his. This man must go out and protect all black families.
All black families, right.
Think about it. Soon as this is a proof right here, nobody can argue. Proof of why we're fucked up and why daddies are important.
Right.
In NFL night, number 1 draft pick, some white boy, quarterback, of course. Number 2 draft pick, some black boy, quarterback.
Right.
They both walk to the table. White boy's table got his father, his mother, his brother, his uncle, his whole bunch of, it's a bunch of people, and they all in the same freaking family.
Right.
Black guy goes to the table, got his mama, his sisters, his aunt, it's a whole bunch of women.
It's a whole bunch of women, right.
Now, when he got the white guy got drafted, they asked him what was he going to do with his money for himself. When the black guy got drafted, they asked him what was he going to do with his money for his community. Even Damian Lillard, what did they say in his Modelo commercial? He was the number. If he wasn't a hard worker, he wouldn't have had the he wouldn't have had the wherewithal to give back to the community. Why the fuck does every black, why in the world does every black man have to give back to the community?
Right. And he's correct. Why do black men have to always be in a servant position without getting anything in return? Nothing in return, but always in a servant position. Right.
Because we're not taught to be men of your family and of yourself. That white boy is not thought of who else can eat off of him where he lived at.
Right.
Because we're not taught to be men who pick theirs and then take care of theirs. That's what men did.
Right.
We staked out a piece of land. Did they not? The men who went west in the United States, they literally went and would stake out a piece of land. And it might have had nothing on it. It might have been dirt.
Right.
But it was theirs. They built it up. They fixed it. They put all they could into it. And when it grew, when it worked, when they could sell it years later for way more than they bought it for, that was a feather in their cap because it was theirs and they built it on their own. Didn't matter if it didn't start off as good as somebody else's. It was theirs.
It was theirs, right.
Black men are literally sit up there and have to take care of a woman with somebody else's kids. It's not natural.
That's not natural, right.
Teaching them to do it. We have to take care of somebody else's problems. We got to be mentors. We the only people.
And that's what I talked about on last night, guys. And part of that is part of the taxation without representation.
Well, you keep hearing talking about a mentor. So you 5 baby daddies, and now you want another guy who has no connection to them to come in and mentor them?
Right.
That's a problem. So then when I see this about, when I'm talking about my daughter, your daughter, or anybody else's daughter, when you have a father, you're not teaching, she doesn't teach the boy to be a simp. She teaches the boy to have discernment. You don't give every woman your money. You don't take every woman out. You don't pay for every woman's stuff.
Right.
It's the same thing. When a girl doesn't have a father, she don't think that her mouth is for a specific man. She think her mouth is for the community. Every man who buy me something, I gotta blow him.
Right.
Every man who give me a compliment, I gotta sleep with him.
Right.
If you teach these people discernment, that not everybody deserves this. Because I always ask women, you just let me sleep with you with no condom. Several times you didn't even know my last name. But if I ask you for your PIN number to your Wells Fargo card and you know you ain't got nothing but $300 in it, you still won't give it to me. You value $300 more than your entire life.
Right. That's true. Very valid point. And that goes back to values. That goes back to the instilling of values. And Tom, I remember a time when you and I, Gen X, if a woman gave dome, she was seen as nasty. She was seen as the nastiest thing in the world. And she
Black women didn't do that when we were young.
Yeah, black women didn't give no dome. If a man found out, hell, I remember a time if a woman had a baby, she was a pariah. I remember a time, Tommy, having kids out of wedlock in general made a woman not worthy of a husband. But now you got some of these pro-blacks, Tommy, they'll tell you men need to come back and serve and take care of other men's kids and be suckers for the community.
I told you.
And in my mind, Tommy, that's not teaching women to be responsible. I don't want my son to settle for a woman that had multiple kids by multiple men, because at the end of the day, he's not going to get his needs met. He's always come last. Tommy, many times, right? Tommy, many times these boys that over-identify with their mom, Raekwon and Man, they're dangerous because if they don't like what Tommy is saying, Tommy, this is what they say.
Yeah, we can't go to balls on my mom. Maybe we're mom. Kill some of my mom.
Raekwon and Man, Tommy, will say, "On my mama." When you hear boys that over-identify with their mama, what rings in your head? What red flags go in your head when you hear boys that over-identify with their mom? Because a lot of boys over-identify with their mom. They have a great disdain for anything that's masculine. You got men in these spaces that hate men that congregate and think logically, and they always defecate on men and logic. What comes to mind when you hear boys that always bellow the sentiment, "On my mama"?
Girls say it. Boys say it. You say something about the mama, we gonna fight. We got to take care of mama. You don't hear people talking about taking care of dad. And we see these things and we got to think, why is mother so important and man not important?
Right.
I always think it's funny though when these men can say, "Oh, my mama," because I tell women this part of it. Well, there's a problem. You think, well, wow, these men are dealing with these men love to protect their mama, and I hear women say, "Well, the way he treat his mama is the way he treat you." Well, the majority of men who are making women single mothers come from single mother households. So how is it that you think it's a positive thing that he love his mama? Because most of these men love their mama, but they don't love you because their mama taught them to love her, not anyone else.
Right.
See, single mothers teach their sons to be son husbands.
Right. Son husbands. Right.
That's he loved the shit out of his mother and would do anything for his mother. And I always point to women. I say, as soon as you tell him you're pregnant, who's the first person he tells?
Tells his mama. Right.
And if his mama say it might not be yours,
and God, that's where the dysfunction lie. A lot of dysfunction because the fathers they should be talking to many times are not there for whatever reason.
Starts to doubt you. They're not saying that mothers aren't, they don't have good intuition, they don't help their sons. The point behind it is, why is it that he doesn't love the woman, he doesn't do what the Bible commands us to do, to let go of your parents and go and cleave to your
wife?
Why is it he doesn't do that? He runs from her and runs to you. And this is what I see with this, "On my mama" and them, because you got to understand the girls are doing the same thing. These girls are closer to their mothers than they are to their baby daddy. Remember the video I did the other day when the mother was in the house with the daughter, and the daughter ends up shooting her own husband, the father of 4. I don't know if you saw it, but it just happened. A Mississippi woman shot this man, but before it happened, her and the mother was on live, Facebook Live or whatever it was, talking about how bad this man was. And I kept thinking, this is a reason why I would never let my wife, my girlfriend, my fiance, your mama can't live in my house. She's not living there. This girl was just one of the "on my mama" kind of persons. So you and your mother hyped yourself up enough to murder this man.
Right.
So you have to watch out for that. Oh, my mama. Because if you listen to it, the girls say the same thing.
That's true.
This love for the women has destroyed us. How can you have so much love and reverence for the weakest of you? But as you stated, the warrior class, you have no love for them. You know why more people wanted to go to the military back before the 1900s than they do now? Because what was the saying? Women love a man in what?
In blue or uniform.
Men wanted to be in uniform to get the woman they wanted.
Right. I see where you're going. Right. And that goes back to what you're saying, that she inspires me. Shout out to my man Ash for the $5 super stick. He said, amen, Tommy. SYSBM all day. No, save your community, black man, simp surfer-ish. Tommy, you know, there's a new movement, Tommy, called the Passport Bros. And I was in a movie with Al Grease and also Jason Whitlock actually did a panel with my man Al Grease. Al Grease is a good friend of mine. But I'm going to ask you a question about why are men so frustrated in America? And then I want you to give context to the Passport movement. Hold tight.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all the other stuff. What you hear is you're strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl walk, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have.
Passport movement, Tommy, is on the rise, and many would call Jesus Dusty if he was living here in America. What's your take on men beginning to live their lives on their own terms? Some say they're suckers. Some say they can't get women here in America, but consistent with theology. Moses' wife was from a foreign land. Solomon had wives from foreign lands. What's your take on men traveling to get their wives from foreign countries, Tom?
They should have been traveling, not even to get a wife. They should have been traveling just to see the world. So one of the reasons why black American men didn't travel, because black American women never taught their sons to travel. That's why most black people have never left the freaking city they're from or have never flown in a plane.
Right.
So the Passport Bros are just men who probably should have been doing it a long time ago, because white men been doing it in forever and a day.
Yes, sir.
White men will go get a woman from somewhere that they don't live and start there with that person, even if they have to go live in that land. Look at what happened in Vietnam. A lot of them men never came back. Stayed over there with the Asian woman they found, lived in a rice paddy. Now, the Passport Bros, to be perfectly honest, are just doing the same thing the brothers in the United States are doing, just trying to find some backs to beat out. They just going over there because the back to beat out was cheaper. And the girl had better hair than the chick over here because they're going to say, oh, well, but there's no real reason for them to go and do it if there's something over here for them to build, unless they were going over there to build. And if many of these men were coming back with wives and things like that, oh, I'd believe it. I'd say this is a real movement. Other than that, I just think it's just they want to fly over there because you can sleep with the women easier and cheaper, and you don't have to understand what they're saying because they speak in a different language. How do I know? Because I've done it. And it is fun, boy. You don't know what they're saying, but sex is a universal language.
Right.
But are you really trying to build something with this person? Because when you say she's better than an American person, bring them over here to America, give them English and see what they do.
Yeah, I understand that. There are some that turn ship once they get socialized, but I do think, Tommy, there are. So I got brothers that are married to foreign women, and their wives, their families are doing well. So you're right. There is a part where they could revert back to carnal hypergamy, but there are a lot of women that travel abroad, and I think a lot of it has to do with their upbringing and it being in an intact family. But you're right. Some can go astray. There are brothers that travel for fun, but then there are brothers that travel to find wives. But Tommy, it's consistent with what Dr. Glasser said, needs drive behaviors. Men are beginning to go abroad because they're looking for traditional feminine women. They're looking for what I call feminine oscillators. An oscillation is like a fan that sprays the perfume of femininity. If you could create a woman, Tommy, to match what you want as a man, what would your ideal woman look like? And how would that woman add value to your life? What would your Mona Lisa look like? What would she look like? The Dirty Father of the end, guys. Thank you for watching. We got a few more minutes left, and we're going to end the stream. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're not donate to the channel, donate to the channel. Share the stream if you don't have any money. But thank you guys for watching. Great show I had with Tommy. Definitely plan to bring her back at some point. And guys, enjoy this content while you can. Male-centered content It's controversial because it's the truth. So enjoy it while you can, guys.
She would be tall, big breasted, small waist, big ass, brown to dark skin.
How tall? How tall, Tommy? How tall?
She'd have to be about 5'7" to 6'3". I take them like that. I like tall women.
Oh, do you really? Okay.
Yeah, but I end up with short ones. I don't mind, but I do like tall women.
Right.
Because I want to have a little athlete, but you know. I like her to be like she likes to be a caring person. I need a woman that's a caring person because I'm a needy person. And not needy like I need you around me all the time. No, I actually don't. I don't like a person to be around me like that. But I'm needy. Like I like to be touched. I like to be held. I like to kiss. I like these things. I think I love them. And I also like to be baby. I want you to cook for me. I want you to do all the cleaning. I want you to do like all it, but I will take care of you. I will take care of you. I will take care of you. You want to do anything outside of the house if you don't want to, but I will also support you. If you want to go get a job or want to start a career or want to go back to school, whatever it is you want to do, because I like seeing you happy if you like seeing me happy.
Right,
so
right.
I need a woman who takes joy in seeing me happy, like that's her joy, and then I would take joy in because I take joy in seeing whatever woman I'm with happy. I really do.
Well, I'm surprised, Tommy, because Afro-Panamanian women seem like they would be your archetype. I'm surprised you never got a wife from your home country in Panama.
Well, I don't go back home very often.
Okay.
So, like I said, we're still different cultures. I actually had one. She was from we dated for a while. I never really told people about her, of course, because I try to keep most of the people I've ever dated, they've never. But she was tall, like I just explained. Now she was actually Miss Panama, and I think people saw. I did put up a picture once when she came here, and we took a picture together. She's a big, tall girl, long hair down the middle of her back. She's 6'1", and what ended up happening was I'm still American, and there's a culture difference,
right?
And because she was there and she wouldn't leave because she had a lot of modeling contracts there, and I'm not patient enough to do that, and I wasn't going to move there, so it broke down. But I think a lot of it was culturally we were different. Because just like I said, if you bring your girl from out of the country and you bring her to the United States, she becomes Americanized.
Yeah,
I'm way Americanized.
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. I don't know if it happens 100%, but it does happen. I agree with you 1,000% on that. I want to show you something, Tommy, and I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got to go at some point. I want to show you something real quick before you get ready to leave. And I've enjoyed this conversation.
That's been fun.
And but this brother is a therapist, Tommy. He was abused, and I want you to listen to this and tell me how it resonates.
Now, your last few things you've been playing, I haven't been able to hear them.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Well, it would play and then it would go away. Like I get those little things you were playing, they would play and then it would just be silent on my end. Like there would be nothing there. You can play this and I'll tell you if I can hear it or not.
Okay. Tell me if you can hear it, Tommy. All right, hold tight. Reached a group of men that's often underrepresented. How has this movie reached a group of men? And you were a man to your word. You created. Guys, if you guys haven't gotten the movie or seen the movie of Fatherless America, go check it out. Good movie. Go support the movie by Thomas Sotomayor. Go check it out. The movie. There was consternation. Say, Tommy ain't gonna make the movie, but you did it. So how's this movie reached a band of men and more or less helped propel a band of men, in your opinion, when it comes down to them becoming better men?
Well, the genesis behind the movie wasn't about preparing men or bringing men. It was preparing a society for the inclusion of men and preparing a society for the uplift and the celebration of masculinity. And the movie was showing that there's an importance that's missing in a lot of lives. And that is the man, that is masculinity. And the movie tried to point that out by talking to a large swath of people.
Shout out to my man RO for the $4, $5 super sticker. Thank you, brother RO. Thank you, sir.
Black, white, old, young, rich, poor, women, men. Because fathers matter to all of them. When you took someone with a lot of money that didn't have a father, like you hear Shaq, LeBron, Snoop Dogg, to name a few, you will see these big grown men turn into little children because of the absence of a father. And when you see something like a 7-foot man looking down at his father, yet looking up at his father, that was something that I thought was amazing. And when I saw these men as I did the movie and I talked to people from all around the United States, and I saw the joy in some people's eyes when they spoke about what their father brought. And I saw the pain in some other people's eyes when they didn't have a relationship with their father or a good relationship with their fathers. And one of the best scenes in the movie was this girl who I talked to as she was there with her children. And I did not expect this girl to do what she did. And it was such a powerful thing she said that I couldn't stop crying. And I challenge anybody to watch the movie and not cry themselves. That's what I did it for, was hoping more people would see men for the value that they have and should be viewed in the United States. Not to view them as walking wallets, not to view them as you can throw them in jail, it doesn't matter, but actually view them as people, living, breathing entities that do have feelings. Stop saying men don't have feelings. They do have feelings. Right. Those things would make so much of a change in the United States. That's what I was looking for.
You know, you go by the moniker, the red real pill, but in lieu of that, we're going to talk about that before you go. But you know, Tommy, foolishness sells. You would think a show where you are talking candidly about the disillusionment of men will have 500, 600, 700 people on the stream. This has been a great show, in my opinion. But shows like these don't have a big crowd of people. If you talk about foolishness, goofy stuff, you have tons and tons of people. But here is a man dropping gems about the empowerment of men. The red real pill, what does that mean? And how could that add to the conversation while we don't value the things we need to value to become successful?
The real red pill. And the real red pill is what I say, is I call myself, because everybody's always talking about red pill, red pill. But in my opinion, I believe I started the movement. So I am the red pill. So I'm the real red pill. I am that, which is, but let me point something out to you in your comment section right now. When you want to talk about what brings viewers and what doesn't. There's a clown in your comment section. Said, call in Tommy. And you have moderators in your comment section who know you're currently doing the show. Why would they allow somebody to come into your comment section and tell me to call into that person's show?
That's a good point. Right.
My moderator would look at that and say, hold on a minute. He's on a show. Why would you say this? You have another person who says, Tommy is a disgrace. Tommy is a disgrace as a man. If you watch it, gives your sense. So you just English just whooping this person's ass. If you watch it, gave your sense. He's been on YouTube on how he treats his personal circle of friends. He likes any type of integrity, your backbone. What the hell? But it stayed there. No offense. A couple of times in this interview, we would talk about things that you'd assume we wouldn't talk about. Like, I know a couple people said that you won't make it, but you did. But what we didn't hear was you say, I saw the movie, and the favorite part of your movie was this. Typically, when you bring someone on the show and they have a book, you can tell them your favorite excerpt from that book.
Right.
But I understand. So what just happened here was when you asked, why does controversy sales? Well, one of the things that I tried to stay away from was one of the things that you tried to bring me into, which was controversy at the beginning.
Right.
Talking about a YouTuber, which I shouldn't have been talking about.
Right. Respect. Right.
It's been about me.
Right.
And I tried to avoid that.
Yes.
Because everybody knows that there's this thing called drama that sells.
Right.
That's why you have an individual who ran into your comment section to try and do something.
True.
You have an individual who's spending their time right now telling people I'm homeless, telling people I'm gay, and the people in the comment section are saying, yeah, he's homeless, even though they look right here and see me in this house, because it doesn't matter. And then they'll sit up there and have a big kiki and ha-ha and laugh about it as you say, this is fucked up. If you got a problem with me, why don't you say exactly what I did wrong instead of just going and making a stupid video saying we're all trolls. But then I watched somebody in the comment section say, this is the most views you've had on anyone. And I said, wait a minute. A dude having 300 views is making the audience go crazy. 300 people is making the audience go nuts. And he used my name, but then it says in the title, stop defaming my character because you are a has-been. So the man with 2,000 people watching his live show is a has-been compared to the guy who had to put his name in the title in order to get his 300 views. And how did he get them? Because he sat up there and wrote a sensational title that made people say, ooh, let's see what he's saying about Tommy.
Right.
That's the problem. We will never get anywhere because no one calls out. If somebody's sitting up here straight lying on a man, why would we listen to this person? You've lost all credibility, but that's not what happens. We think you're funny. You irritating that person. So when you ask about these things, when you say, why does it seem like something that seems like it could be powerful and yet no one wants to watch it? Typically the people who are broadcasting it don't even really want to watch it be powerful. That's why I love the fact that I can do an interview with Gilbert Arenas and people walk and say, that's one of the most impactful interviews I've seen. And what drama did I bring up? 5 hours of no drama.
Right. Respect.
Because if I want people to see, what does it say, those saying? Be the change.
Right.
When you are the change, you don't tolerate crap on the times in which you don't want crap to be a thing. You want crap to not be what we're talking about right now. And that's what you do. You move forward. So when you asked me, like even earlier, you said, how do you feel about the trolls? I found that funny when I was like, oh, there are trolls right here in this comment section who came from somewhere else, that they came to try and take something from you. And as I said about Black folks, we don't build anything.
Yes.
We build nothing. We tear down.
We tear down. Right.
And you have a person who, regardless of how many people you had watching, came over to try and steal who was watching your stuff. How many people do you think who were your fans who probably went to go take a look? Because the drama was more important.
Yes, sir. I agree with you, man. And I'll say this, man. Listen, I am a fan of yours. I've always respected you. I am going to get the movie. I just haven't got it. I'm busy. I'm extremely busy. But I will get the movie. I do plan to get it, and that's why I promote it, because I believe in what you're saying. But thank you, man, for being a clarion caller. You are the OGs of OGs. I call you the Ancient of Days. In the Bible, it talks about the Ancient of Days, and you were one of the number one brothers in this space where a lot of people actually maybe got a lot of the talking points and actually emulated, whether they reversed it or minimized it or whatever. So I'm honored, man, to have you on, and hopefully we can do another show again. I really appreciate your candor. I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your intellect. I appreciate your forthrightness, but also I appreciate what you do. I don't give a damn about what other folks. I like you for who you are. I see behind all the BS that people say a good man. So I'll leave it at that. But thank you, brother, for tuning in, and enjoy your show that you're about to come in. So thank you, Tommy.
Thank you so much for having me on. Sorry I got to run, but I got 8 o'clock.
Yes, sir, brother. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
See you.
All right, be good. All right. All right, guys. You guys have had my man, Tommy Sotomayor in the house. We had a great show, and tonight I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And you're right, Gail. Tommy has amazing live stream conversation. Time's goes by so fast. Can't believe it's been literally almost 2 hours. Guys, thank you guys for tuning in. But the question remains to those that are listening. Have you guys been impacted by abuse? Have you guys been impacted by abuse? And if you have been impacted by abuse, I want you. All right, guys. Good show, guys. And we're going to end this stream. Thank you for the brothers that tuned in. I wanted to recap what Tommy was talking about. And now, guys, we're going to end this stream. I want you guys to focus on yourself and start taking care of yourself. Guys, enjoy black male-centered content. There are people that are trying to suppress this type of content because the truth, guys, is controversial. The men that I support and that I try to help, I have these conversations because I want to see them win. But unfortunately, as I continue to grow, I have to look at other avenues or look at avenues and means that are consistent with me being on YouTube if I intend to be here for a period longer. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in, guys. We're going to end this stream on tonight. And guys, get your tickets at some point. And guys, I'll be seeing you guys soon. Be well.
Fire for your mind. Kosher Clinician.
If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues, absent fathers who miss you, mama drama don't kiss you, all a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. Listen. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. This is Kosher Clinician. 7 wonders the whole world gotta listen. This is
Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, yeah. I'm so handsome. All in Carmine's with my Benz, I'm so fancy. No romancing. Got my baby and she right, she make you vanish. No time to play, got book dates. Had a plan, only had to wait. Always knew I'd make a way. Send a bill, they send a pay. Keep it real, keep the record straight. Keep it real, no time to fake. All authentic in my own lane. I ain't me till I'm in the grave. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. Ooh, never panic. Get a worry, send it up and then advantage. I can't stand it. Out of order way you move and see you scrambling. On offense, no defense. Still strong, no weakness. Used to say I wouldn't beat this. Now they wish they could beat this. Table set, not tables turn. God's plan, don't say a word. Know the price, cause I know my worth. My time, get what I deserve. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one loss, no one's around for you. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop. I won't stop, no, 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 no. I won't stop, I won't stop.
Tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just pull it out and count for nothing when I'm feeling great. Give my baby little more just to spend it, and I'm always on go, I don't hesitate. Used to always know I make it, yeah. I'll be me until I'm in the grave, yeah. See my record, had to set it straight, yeah. I make the kid like 10 times 10. I got wires coming in, some in euros, some in sec, some in dollars, some in yen. I've been trying to keep my zen, keep my cool, trying to keep the family fed. Get my food. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. Did it, do it. I did it all, no gimmicks. I did it all, no fibbits. Now I got all these children, now I got all these clones. Now I got all you twinning, now I got all you thinking like all you winning. They tried to count me out, they tried to fill that doubt. They tried to ride my whip, they tried to knock me out. They tried to count my wins, they tried to show my L's. They tried to make me in, they tried, but where they now? Where they? Step in the spot and they stare at me. All of these battles will bear me. I swear that nothing compares to me. Feeling blessed, I won't stress. Beat the odds, you know the rest. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. dumb me, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees, go dumb me, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them.
Countdown, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate, on time, never late. I grind, celebrate, no pump, fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day, champagne, Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now stepping up to home. Like straight out the sand lot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving, skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater.
Yo, go dumb me, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees, go dumb me, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them.
Smile good, skin clear, this here my year. Hey look up here, this here my tier. Same fit 4 days, I grind 4 ways. I play no games, all me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave, can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane, can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I cleared 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving, skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater.
Yo, go dumb me, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees, go dumb me, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. I OD, apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 500 degrees on them. 500 degrees.
I'm away. I'm away. I'm a 1 to 1, I could never be you. Low me tools, no I can't be fooled. Low me tools, no I hate these dudes. I'm a 1 to 1, I could never be you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do better than you. Drop my first single, let go, he rap. You thought it was a drought, that's cap. I get the front and I get the back. Lil Uzi the facts like that's a rap. Bought some new boots just to wear them out. Bought a new Beamer, I run it to the ground. I used to say nothing, I bet they hear me now. Ain't on my business, no need to hear me out. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than a check, say less. If you can say it best, say less. I'm taking all best, say less. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than a check, say less. If you can say it best, say less. I'm taking